Hello, it's me again. And this is a little how-to video that I'm putting together for you to give you an idea about presentations. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of presentations in here. You don't have to present them to me or to the class or anything. Just put it together is what we're going to do. And one of the things that I use primarily for the ones I do is PowerPoint. And PowerPoint allows me to stick up data slides, to embed videos, to create a PowerPoint, and then I can record it over my recording software and publish it for you guys to look at, which is what I'm going to do with this one. Especially if you're in my other classes, you've seen that some of my presentations are relatively short, anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, and then others are, an hour or more, maybe 2 hours, depending on how fired up I am about the subject and how much of it we have to do. The reason I'm doing this, by the by, there's a method to the madness, and I don't want you to be freaked out about it because it's really not that hard to put one of these presentations together. I never turned a computer on while I was, yeah, on the sunny side of 35. So, I'm an old dog with some new tricks here, basically. The profession you're going into is going to require sometimes that you do this sort of thing. I didn't expect that when I went into the counseling field. I thought that I would just be spending all my time with patients and, helping them to work their steps and to do the things that they needed to do to get sober and, being wise and all that good stuff. But that's not all of it. I had a boss one time that came in and said, we're going to put together a program for minors who've been busted with, with drugs and alcohol. Bushart, you and Kevin designed that thing, and and here we went, and then we had to take it to judges and tell them what we were doing and things like that. So this is a skill that'll serve you well. It'll serve you well in your other courses too, where you might put something like this together for a project or whatever. And some of my students have been real creative about the projects that they've done and special topics and current issues and things like that. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about putting a PowerPoint together. And one of the things I'm going to put together is I'm going to be showing it to you as part of your coursework. It'll be one of your lectures in here. And it's going to be on ethics, and it will be concerning both personal and professional ethics. And so without further ado, I'm going to go over to the PowerPoint page. And I'm using an older version of PowerPoint on this computer. I've got a newer one on my other computer. It's, as I said, I'm having some technical difficulties right now. So this is where we're going with it. And it's very meat and potatoes. Some of you may be good at this. And thinking, looking at me and saying, boy, that's primitive, man. Well, it could be, but it's, like I said, it's basic, it's meat and potatoes, and how to get through a presentation if you're going to do it. So I'm going to share my screen with you here right quick. Here we are, PowerPoint presentations. And like I said, this is an older PowerPoint program and an older version of Windows than most of us are using nowadays because it's on an older computer that I got when mine broke and recall it. Anyway, but that's another sad, long story that would make you weep, so I'm not going to do that to you. Uh, and you can click on these things and pick a bunch of different kinds. I like the one that's there, so I'll just, I do, if you've looked at my presentations that I've done with PowerPoint, you see that I lean toward parallax. It's simple. It leaves a lot of the screen open for me to work with. It doesn't have a bunch of stuff in the background to catch your attention and cause you to look around in the background instead of looking at what I'm trying to get you to look at and that kind of thing. And it's easy to use. So let me make sure I show this. That is. No, show tab. There we go. So that you can see what's what there. If you're this works kind of like a Word, a Microsoft Word program when you're ready to save it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's give it a title. I'm going to give you an ethics presentation called the search for the. I'll spell it right, huh? Right and the good. I'll give it a semicolon, make it grammatically correct, and I mean a colon to make it grammatically correct, and then go down here and say ethics. A very nice little dash to make it look pretty good there. Both personal, again if I can spell it, and professional. Doesn't that look nice? And there we got a title page. And just between you and me, if I'm working on something, I hate to lose it. I hate for it to go away. So the very first thing I do once I've got my title card up is I go over here and say save as, and I'll tell it this PC, for me anyway, and let's see where I want to put it, desktops. I'll just leave it on the desktop. I'll call it the search for the right and the good. I can move it into a folder later. Yes, please. I was playing with it earlier and made a title card, but I wanted to show you how to make the title card, not just show you the title card, right? And hey, we're off to a good start. Most any of us can do that, right? Now I want a new slide. And here's where I have to start thinking about things. Like, where do I want to start with this? Do I want to start with, defining ethics? What is ethics? What does it mean? What kind are there? How many kinds of ethics are there? What's the important elements of ethics? What do people need to know about what I'm going to teach them? So what does my student need to know about this particular topic? What can I show them that will be helpful to them? And you'll see that in the full presentation. But let's see now. I might say, what do we mean by ethics? Question mark, right? And I can click down here and add text. Again, this is very simple. I'll have personal morality, laws and regulations, thou shalt not, professional standards and expectations. Again, if I can spell it. Sometimes my head works faster than my fingers, or vice versa, I'm not sure. And that's a good place to start. When you're going to do a presentation, by the way, and we'll be talking about that some more in here, and I'll have some meetings with you about that. Uh, I'm going to add you another slide just so I can do it. How to provide information. You always wanted to know that, right? It's like one of the famous teachers school 101, right? And here's what you do. You have your audience out there, and you have an idea of what that audience is and what they're like and what they need to know and all that good stuff. And you've got a wealth of information because you're smart and you've been trained and you've done research and you've got data. So you know what you want to give these people. And then you tell them what you're going to teach them. Da-da-dum. Good idea, huh? Today we're going to talk about ethics, the various types of ethics that there are out there, and how they have an effect on us as individuals, our societies, the way we organize ourselves into groups, our laws, crime and punishment, and the professions and how they define professions, etc. That's a lot of ground to cover, but that's what we're going to talk about. Then teach them. Which is what you do when you provide that information, right? You tell them what the information is going to be, and then you provide it to them. What do you think the third thing is? I bet you know. Yep, absolutely, you're right about that. Tell them what you've taught them. You summarize it, just you bring it around. Now, we might want to do something maybe even a little more clever here. Let me shrink these programs down and see if I can share this with you. I don't know if this is sharing or not. Let me see. Yeah, it will. And let's say we want to spice it up with a picture. You can go over here and find yourself some philosophers. That's Rodin's The Thinker, the French sculptor. I think that's The Cowardly Lion there, but I'm not sure about that. We'll just pick this guy because he looks studious and cool and all of that good stuff. And I'll say, save image as. And I'll put him over here on mine. I'm not going to put him with Freud. I could, I guess, but that would be unkind. I'll put him on the desktop and say philosopher. And boom, he's saved over there. And so that when I want to spice up my presentation with a picture, I can say insert picture, desktop, find my philosopher, there he is, insert, and he shows up over here, bang. And you can adjust him a little bit, move him around, make him bigger or smaller, is whatever suits you. And pop, there you go, he's in that. If I wanted to do a video in here, I might go over to YouTube and say, this is a good one.
Okay, so you back up your files in Dropbox.
Yep.
What about files on your desktop?
Yep.
Documents?
get
Have a
that.
new album coming out called Other Voices, Other Rooms,
Let's look
and
at
all the
something here.
writers who are on the record are here tonight. And this next writer wrote a song about
Make sure that it's the one
a
I
woman.
want. Okay. And I'll grab the address, go back to my PowerPoint, my new slide, and stick in the video. Now, in order for this video to play for me, I am in this version of PowerPoint anyway. I have to do the slideshow format, and when I get down here, you can see the link is live, and that when I click it, it takes me to what I want here.
Have a new album coming out
You're
called Other
welcome, by the
Voices,
way,
Other
for that
Rooms,
song. It's a really
and
good one.
all the writers who are on the record are here
So
tonight. And
you can enjoy that
this
if you want.
next writer wrote a song.
But as Nancy Griffith, by the way, she used to be married to Eric Taylor, a friend of mine I used to work with at Palmer Drug Abuse and back in the day, and he is a songwriter and singer as well. Okay, so that's how you load stuff into this. You can grab things off of the internet, data, for instance, COVID-19 chart, or say that. Coronavirus map, John Hopkins, which is a good center. It looks like this might be a video. Well, it's mighty busy, whatever it is. When you're evaluating research, if you're grabbing numbers, be careful with what you're grabbing. If you go to a place like Johns Hopkins, Walter Reed Medical Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, St. Luke's Hospital, Harvard University, places like that, then you get good data. If you go to the back of the Chevy van at Berkeley, you may not get good data. And one of the things about pulling in information, if I could see you, I would ask for a show of hands about who's on Facebook. Are you on Facebook? If you are on Facebook, then you know that a whole bunch of what shows up on Facebook is bullshit. And if you run it through a fact check or a data check, it will show that people are basically wrong. No, they're not basically wrong. They're lying. Some people may grab it and post it who are basically wrong. If you're thinking that we are, for instance, and I'm a firm believer in science, and I don't know if you noticed that just a moment ago, but I'm wearing a button that says science over fiction. And you believe that we're doing great in the world, look at these cases of COVID-19. And then look across the border at Canada. It's not real good. We certainly did better than Africa when we were graphing out the AIDS epidemic, but Africa is cleaning our clock and keeping people from being sick with COVID. Up in Asia and China and the former and Europe and the former Soviet Union, we see that there's a lot. And over here, there's in Western Europe, my goodness, bunches of it. Johns Hopkins is a good place to go. Let me see, where else would I like to go to get results about that COVID-19 data, CDC, and there's the COVID data tracker, cases and dates in the United States reported, and territories as well. Where's the map key? In the last 7 days, 14,000 to 30,000. That's Texas. Last 7 days, we have right now total cases of 769,303. My last update, 30,081 in the last 7 days. Cases per 100,000, we have 2,680, and deaths per 100,000, we have 55. That may sound like a small number there, going from 769,303 total cases and 55 deaths. But when you break down these numbers and start looking at them, that's a pretty appalling number, particularly since we know exactly what COVID is and how to not get it. But the total new deaths updated October 6th from yesterday is 361 new deaths in the country, which is pretty good because we've normally been hitting between 700 and 1,000 deaths. We are not out of the bushes. We have not turned the corner, and there is no science to back up the claim that you'll be okay. You'll beat this thing. It's nothing to it. That's I can't say this any nice way. It's a lie. So anyway, check your data sources, and it's also true that when you're looking for things and looking for data to back up a claim that you're making or something like that, figures don't lie, but liars do figure. And you can take statistics and do twisty things with them to make them look like they're something else. My friend Tommy is military vehicle and weapons collector, and he took his restored 1943 Willys Jeep to wings over Houston and displayed it out there, and he goes to exhibits like that and puts his stuff on display and has his well time and gets dressed up in World War II gear with a bunch of other old fat guys. And he might say to you that yeah, I went to 3 shows last year, and out of those 3 shows, my Jeep finished first in one of them and second in another. And so, it's a really, really neat thing until you start looking at the samples. And he finished first in the category which was of military vehicles, which were Jeeps. And he was the only one in it. And so he won first place. He also won last place, if you get right down to it. He won only place. And then he did get another prize for showing his military vehicle in another exhibit where there were 2 people, and he placed second. Not a whole lot to write home about, but if you say you placed first and second in a military vehicle contest, well, there you go. You can I was the best old fat second baseman on that field because I was the only old fat second baseman on that field. So there you have it. When you're putting your presentations together, and we'll talk about the things that you can do, the topics that you can pick. And in current issues, we are going to speak about topics, about things that you can research and that we should research. If you have something that's near and dear to your heart, then you want to do a presentation on that, and run it by me, and we'll see, if that works out for you. And we'll be talking about having our topics for the first little slideshow. And I'm not expecting great things from you in terms of putting together something that we can sell to HBO. Or a real lengthy thing. 5 to 10 slides is enough, you know, and I'll show you what to do with that. So it won't be that big a chore. But if you've got something that I don't know, maybe kids whose parents are in jail, maybe religion and how it plays a role in recovery, or should drug users be incarcerated, or should it be a crime? Uh, the point is not what you pick, and I mean, yeah. Let me rephrase that. I don't sound like I'm poo-pooing things. I'm more interested in the mechanics of it right now. That how to put together a presentation, and how to organize the little bit of material that I'm asking you to have. And what's important when you're writing a paper, for instance, you have an introduction, and in that introduction, you set the stage for what's coming next. I want to talk to you today about the marijuana laws. Do you know how many people are in jail for this weed that no one can even prove is harmful to you? And do you know how it's affecting their children who are left at home and their families? Do you know how it affects their ability to get a job or run an apartment when they get out? Now you've set the stage. Putting people in jail for this is a problem. It affects them with their family and their parenting. It affects them with their ability to earn a living. It affects them with their ability to have a place to live. And then I will address each of those in a paragraph or in a discussion, a few sentences here and there. What you'll see when you see my presentations, and I'm not suggesting you do them exactly the way I do them or anything like that. But when I give you a slide, it's not real busy. Very rarely is my slide busy. It doesn't have a lot of words on it. Sometimes it has a lot of pictures on it, and just for illustration purposes. And I do that sometimes to entertain myself, really, if you want to know the truth. But the bullet points are on there, and every bullet point will be addressed. I don't put it on there so that you can just look at it and I can ignore it. It's like a little note. I know my material, and so that when I put this bullet point on there, I'll be able to talk to each of those bullet points that are on the slide, and be able to do that. You don't want to overload yourself. If someone asks you what time it is, there's no point in telling them how to build a watch, is there? Just look at it and say. So that's the purpose of imparting information. And when I'm looking to see what I want to include in the slides, and again, I'm thinking about my audience, who they are, what I think they want to know, or what they've told me they want to know. A lot of times, if you're invited to come out and talk about your program, or talk about the state of affairs with, adolescent vape use or something like that, you already have an idea of what people want from you, so you can go out and give it to them, right? Yeah, I knew you'd see it that way. So what I want you to do is to get a slide to go to your PowerPoints, and I'll post the assignment too, so that you can do it. Is just go to a PowerPoint and make a title page and maybe a first page after that, talking about what you're going to talk about or why you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about, and that's that. Think about what you want to present it on. This is not marrying you to the topic. We're not there yet. I'm just you can talk about the effect of rabies on South African weasels. I don't care. I just want to see if you can put a title for it on a slide and some talking points. And I'll have some more stuff for you coming along. We are going to do this is this particular bit that we're doing right now is just about how to put together a PowerPoint and post it. That's really the only thing that you have to do with that. But we are going to be covering some more information that's pretty critical, in terms of things that we have to think about moving into the future. We have to think about healthcare reform. Where are we going? The president just got out of Walter Reed Hospital. He was in there, 3 days? Something like that, with COVID-19. And he's definitely in a risk group. And he's definitely not out of the woods. I mean, bad things could happen to the guy. But he has top-notch care. You and I, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to have a helicopter land in our front yard and pick us up and fly us to Walter Reed and escort us in with some Secret Service people for the very finest medical care on planet Earth. And healthcare reform is going to have to happen in this country because our healthcare costs are out of control. The ability to access services is at a critical level. People die because they don't have insurance and they don't have money, and that's the truth. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about contagious illness and how it affects us. And as I said earlier, COVID-19 is kicking the hell out of the treatment industry. It just is. We're having places closing all over the place. It's not going to last forever, and it's going to swing back up because there's a terrific demand for what we have to offer and for what we deliver to people. Legalities. We've got to talk about that. No one should be in jail for weed. No one should be in jail because they're a drug addict. Doing other crimes, yeah, sure, but just for being a drug addict, that's in this best of all possible republics, that's a travesty. So there's lots of issues and current issues that we can talk about here. The opioid epidemic, we can talk about that. We can talk about Kush and the designer drugs. We can talk about how we use our jails to create a cycle of in and out with our mentally ill people. In Texas, almost all of our mentally ill people, if we put them away, that's where we put them. It's not in a hospital; it's in a jail cell. Lots to talk about, lots of cool presentations. And if you want to take your slide and make a little video and post it on there, that's fine. That's just a little letting out, but more on this a little later. So, bye.